Hi, my name is Nick Kareem. I'm the director-producer of an award-winning play about my dear friend Eva Schloss, who is the stepsister of Anne Frank. Eva went through probably the worst ever tragedy in history. She lost half her family, including her beloved brother and her father. Her mother then went on to marry Otto Frank, Anne Frank's father, who died in 1980, and Eva then decided that she needs to tell the story to the world. I got involved in 1997 when she went when I was in New York. She took me to see her play, which had just been written. And I felt that this is a story that needs to be told, and the whole world needs to listen. Because the Holocaust, in lots of people's minds, it happened 60 years ago. Why do we need to keep talking about it now? I then was able to show people, actually, by talking about the Holocaust, is the one way of stopping such horrors happening again. The Chinese thing came up because 3 years ago, I met with a cousin of mine who was a journalist in Hong Kong, and I told him what I was doing. So he said, you should bring your play to Hong Kong. And then I thought, well, what a great idea. And then I discovered that 30,000 Jews were given refuge by the Chinese just before Adolf Hitler came to power in Germany. And I thought, wouldn't it be a great opportunity for Eva Schloss, my dear friend, to visit China with her story and her play to thank the Chinese people for what they did and the help they gave to the Jews. And it's part of our mission to take Eva's story around the world.
Hi, nice to meet you.
Hello, James. Nice that you could come.
Thank you. It's my pleasure. It's my honor. I was hoping that I could invite you and your cast to bring your story to China. Maybe you could tell me a little bit more about your story and what happened.
Well, it's very important that the world knows about what has happened because so many people were murdered by the Nazis. And I'm sure in China they know more about the war in the Pacific and don't know too much about that. But on the other hand, the Chinese were the only people in 1938, 39 and even 40 who let Jewish people still come to China. The whole world refused to take any Jewish people in, and China opened their gates for Jewish refugees, and 30,000 people from Germany, Austria and Czechoslovakia were able to escape the Nazis and were welcomed by the Chinese, lived in Shanghai, were able to start a business, and the children went to school, and they had quite a decent life, unfortunately, till the Japanese came. But even the Japanese didn't persecute Jews, but they had to go and live in a certain ghetto so that they could kind of keep an eye on them. So it would be very nice if perhaps some of those people who welcomed the Jewish people are still alive, and we could say a proper thank you, because those people were obviously saved from being murdered by the Nazis.
That'd be wonderful. And I know you promote a special message with the play as well, don't you?
Yes, of course. Unfortunately, there's still hatred and discrimination against people, and especially now in Europe where there's so much immigration and refugees coming, and very often the local people don't like that, and so there is murders or attacks on those people who just want to escape being persecuted in their own country. And this is very similar to what has happened at the time when the Nazis persecuted the Jews. I would like to show you some pictures of my family.
That'd be amazing.
Unfortunately, my brother was murdered by the Nazis. I think he must have been about your age. This is Heinz when he was 16 years old. And
Heinz is your brother?
Heinz is my brother. And he was very musical. He could play piano, he had a guitar, he formed his own band. But of course, while he was in hiding, because we went into hiding for 2 years till we were betrayed by the Nazis, and while in hiding he created paintings, and I've got many beautiful paintings which he created while in hiding. This is kind of sad, you know, bit Rembrandtish. This is a particularly sad picture. He imagines he comes in, and he's a farm worker, has beer and bread, and he comes in and he sees his mother has died behind the curtain, and he lies down and cries. He was very much occupied with dying because many of his friends were deported and killed. And There's another very lovely picture. He was very studious. He sits at his desk, writing everywhere. You see the books, the globe, and on the calendar is 11, which is my birthday. So even while he painted this, he was thinking of me. So he has done 30 paintings, and a few years ago I donated it to the Resistance Museum. This is a more cheerful painting. He hoped to be, he had a little sailboat when he was a young boy, and he hopes he would be able to go and sail again. Unfortunately, that was not the case. I've got this picture with the sailboat even. This is that little boat. He was so proud of it. You know, we had nearly no room for the two of us, but he just loved it on the Amstel River.
Mm. Is that him?
That's him, yeah.
This is you?
That's me, yeah.
Oh.
And of course we all had a bicycle in Holland. And this was the last picture taken before we went into hiding. Oh, he was always with a book. He taught himself 6 languages while he was in hiding. And he wrote many, many poems. I wrote 2 books. This is my last book, where I write a lot about him, because I feel, not like Anne Frank, who's lived on, but he's sort of forgotten. And so I wrote this book to honor him, and there are 2 poems which he wrote as well, and some of his paintings. So, and I feel through many people reading this book, his memory lives on. That is very, very important to me. And this is my first book that's more serious. That is about my experience in Auschwitz. I was 9 months there, and amazingly I survived with my mother. This is amazing. And after the war, in 1953, my mother married Otto Frank, Anne Frank's father, who had become a widower. And they were very, very happy. They were married for 27 years. And it was a very happy marriage. This, by the way, was my father. He was just 45 years old when he was killed by the Nazis. And for me it was sometimes a bit difficult to have Otto as a stepfather, because my mother was very happy with him, and you know, it wasn't my father.
Yeah.
So, but he was a wonderful person, Otto, and so, you know, and I was happy that my mother was happy, but it was sometimes a little difficult.
And you missed your father?
I missed my father and my brother very, very much. And this is as interesting as well. That's a passport of my mother, and you can see
the J.
The J.
Yeah.
Every Jewish person had to have a J in there. And every Jewish woman had to be called Sarah. And every
Israel.
Jewish boy, Israel. That's my brother Heinz Felix Israel. Childish in a way, you know, but and this is a German passport, so we were Austrians. So when the Nazis came in, we lost our Austrian nationality, had to become German, but later when we were in Holland, we lost even the German nationality, and we became stateless, which means that no country is responsible for you, you have no rights, and if they murder you, well, you know, nobody is going to speak up, and this is what happened.
So, thank you very much. That's amazing. Thank you. I would like to thank you by giving you this book.
Oh, that's wonderful.
This is of my hometown of Jufu, in China.
Right.
Where Confucius's temple.
That still exists now? This
yes,
temple of
it
Confucius?
still exists. It's
right.
the main temple, the Sankong, the graveyard temple and the mansion. And I visit there very often.
But there are many temples in here, so.
Yeah, well, it's they're not they're not separate temples.
Oh, it's a whole complex of.
Yeah, it's the temple. Will
and
be
people still pray there too.
Yeah, you can pray to Confucius. You can. I like to think of it as bowing to respect him, because Confucianism is not a religion.
Not a
it's
religion.
a philosophy.
Mhm.
So
Well, before we go to China, I have to learn about all this.
yeah, it's very interesting, and I think you would very much enjoy it, like I enjoyed learning about your photos.